Hey, what's happening guys? Mike Moon here. Listen, I'm really pumped and excited about this new camera that Sony's releasing that is supposed to be not necessarily a successor to the Sony RX100 series, but this is specifically probably an addition to the Sony RX100 series. I mean, they already have 7 or 8, and they actually 8 models already still on the market, starting from the RX100 original. I have the RX100 Mark II. I've owned the RX100 Mark IV, Mark V, Mark VI, and now I have RX100 Mark VII. Now, something common in all of these Sony RX100 cameras is that with each succeeding camera improvement, they've added or removed features that were pretty important to some certain subset of people that want to use these awesome compact cameras for whatever purposes they have. Now, first, let's go ahead and talk about what's already been leaked. And I'm going to go ahead and refer you over to the website SonyAlphaRumors.com, which someone had submitted some actual footage of what's going to be released. And this camera is going to be called the Sony ZV-1. So this is going to be very video focused for maybe Instagrammers and also vloggers. And you can tell just from the actual, what it looks like, the actual pictures, this is really designed for the self-vlogger. Okay, and this is run and gun shoot type of setup. I want to point out a couple of important distinct details about this camera versus the other cameras in the RX100 lineup. And looks like a lot of it is based on a RX100 type size. So it's going to be really, really compact. Now, if you look at the RX100 Mark VII, which is the newest model, you'll notice that it doesn't have a hot shoe. That's something that's been missing since the RX100 Mark II. See right here, we have a little hot shoe where I can actually mount something like a flash gun or a microphone. So it looks like they've added that to the ZV-1. This is going to be really important if you want to have better audio coming in and a way to mount it without having to do a cage. So with the RX100 Mark VII, I did a little video about it along with the cage, and I needed the cage because there's no way to mount the microphone, even though they've added a microphone input. So there's a good chance that they've improved the quality of the microphone in the ZV-1. As you can see, they actually have this little dead cat thing up top, and that's probably for this built-in microphone right here. I think that this will actually be able to pop up and you can actually get better sound quality from it. In fact, it looks like it's got microphone grills on top. Probably when you have it popped up or released or something, you're going to get better sound quality from it. Now, I don't know if it's going to pop up or not, because looking at the size, the physical size between what is available between the faster lens that's on here and the microphone, it could be that this dead cat is just propped up on top, and somehow the microphones here are going to be able to be somewhat directional through some digital sound processing. Okay, but they have a hot shoe, so I can go ahead and stick on a Rode video mic, which is one of my favorite ways to go, or even a wireless microphone, and no doubt they're going to there's very little doubt. I'm not going to say no doubt, because at this point the camera hasn't been announced yet, but they're probably going to have a microphone input like they do on the RX100 Mark VII. See down here, this is the only model that actually has a microphone input. So now with the ZV-1, we're going to get better audio quality. That's going to be good. Now, a couple of other things you'll notice at the top, there's a very prominent record red button on there, which is fantastic, because I don't necessarily like to bring this little grip out here. And I think either this one, which I also did a video on, you should check out. This is designed for the vlogger. It's part of a vlogging kit. This is the Sony VCT SGR1. This was an additional expense with this little cable that plugs into the side of the camera, and this basically gives me nice, faster, better access to the video record button on here, because this is a very capable video recording instrument with a super fast focus on here. So this little button is really difficult to press when you're doing the self vlog and you got this thing up here and then you got a microphone plugging or blocking this thing. So they've addressed those issues, but at the same time they still think that you should potentially use one of these little grips there on the bottom. I think the one that's pictured on the bottom is their newer one, which connects via Bluetooth. Okay, so obviously it's going to go ahead and support this fully. And this recently just came out as well. I didn't really do a video review or introduction about this yet, but this one is called the GP-VPT2BT. You get that? Anyway, I'll have a link down to this below. This is a much more robust one that that connects to my Alpha 7 III, which I'm recording this footage on right now, and it's completely wireless. You don't have to have these other dangling cables out. And this also has that prominent record button here, as long as the photo button and the zooming range button. This is going to be very useful, along with the locks and everything. This is a much better, robust product. But then look at the size difference between the two. And so you'll see this will work just fine with the Sony ZV-1, as you can kind of tell from the picture down below that that's kind of what they have pictured down there. So the new the ZV-1, to state the obvious, you look at the top, they're really focusing on the whole video aspect of it by removing this mode dial, which gives you the PASM, MR video, a high frame rate, scene recording, auto mode, and replacing that really with a big prominent video recording button. I think a lot of people are going to like that, and I guess I appreciate that for self-vloggers. So that's going to be pretty useful there. And I guess the rest of the mode dial buttons are going to have to be either in the back or in whole digital interface, which may annoy some people, but if you're primarily using it to record video, which is what this is about, you might have those already, all those settings already set up, and have the record button up there. That's going to be a lot more useful in traveling light than having to stick on one of these grips to then go ahead and hold the camera out like so to do self-vlogging. So that's good. Okay, let's talk about some other obvious things on here. They've added a flip out screen, which flips out to the side, kind of like a Canon. This guy only flips up and above. That does cause some issues because you can't necessarily see the whole screen when you're doing it this way. And also flipping it out to the side allows you to articulate in hopefully in a different way rather than just flip it forward. So I'm really hoping that's the case. What it looks like though is that the screen bezels are kind of big on that versus what I would expect Sony to be doing. So hopefully that's just a prototype, but maybe the screen is a little bit smaller. But maybe they needed to make space for all that so that you have a more robust hinge when you have it recording. Notice the guy is wearing sunglasses just the way Casey Neistat vlogs, because if you have it out to the side, you're looking to the side. When you're shooting yourself, it looks like you're looking off camera, which you are, because you're looking at yourself to make sure you're in focus. You just kind of have to train yourself to not look that way. But I see that is going to be a little bit of an issue versus flipping it up here. Now, I don't think they have a mechanism that has this flip it up above. This looks a little bit less distracting when you're doing the self-vlogging and looking at the looking up here versus here. It just looks like you're looking slightly over versus completely off to the side. So you know, that's one of those things that you might have to consider whether you're more comfortable with coming out to the side or to the top, because it's perfectly capable. Now, another thing you're going to really appreciate though is the very fact that, and I was disappointed about that, was that this is a newly designed lens for the Sony RX 100 Mark VI Mark VII. And it has a longer zoom range, but most of us don't care about that because we like low light footage quality. We're often vlogging in places maybe that are less than ideal light situations, which introduce a lot of noise, and you want a brighter lens that captures more light in that. So rather than having a 2.8 lens in here and longer zoom range, you're going to have something that is more similar to the 5A, which I don't have, which is the VA, which basically took the inwards of this and put it in the Mark V camera body, and with the faster lens. So you start out at a 1.8. So this one here is the Mark II, and this one starts at the 1.8. So that's going to gather more light, give you better bokeh quality. That basically blur the quality of the background blur, which is going to be pretty useful when you are recording, because it just looks more cinematic, that you can focus on your screen, focus your viewer on you when you're recording whatever you're focusing on, and also be able to shoot in lower light situations. So that part's really key. You're not going to get the really awesome zoom range that you get with the Mark VI and Mark VII, but I think the trade-off is most people want that faster lens. Okay, so it covers the same 24 to 70 millimeter range as the 5A, and that is preferred. So basically, in a nutshell, what this is going to do, oh, it also has a beefier grip. Supposedly it has a beefier grip, so I won't even, chances are I can go out with a more pocketable version and more suitable version of recording video with the new ZV-1 versus the whole Mark 7 with the whole cage. Okay, with the whole cage and then with this whole grip. So you might say, well, Mike, this is pretty compact, but sometimes, you know what, I just go out with the GoPro because it's so small and it's ready to go. It does a decent enough job. Now I can improve the quality with something that is still really pocketable. This is getting a little bit far from pocketable for most people because the camera itself was was more compact and relatively pocketable, right? But now you add on the grip, it adds more dimensions on one way, this way, you know, to improve the usability. And you know, at the same time doesn't accomplish everything that I need. But with this new ZV-1, chances are I won't necessarily need the cage anymore, right? And then with the improved microphone, I might not even need an external microphone if I'm just recording just really close up, right? And then hopefully this whole dead cat system works potentially magnetically stuck on top. Maybe that's what's going on with it. I'm not sure. Maybe it pops a little bit so you stick on the dead cat. And then the record movie button is going to be a lot easier to press because it's just as big of a button as the original shutter button. Okay, so I won't necessarily need one of these things to get the big buttons, right? So, and then I got the faster lens too, which is pretty much allows me potentially to practically replace both this model, which is the Mark II, with the hot shoe and the faster lens, and then the Mark 7, which has all the latest improvements, including the pop-up viewfinder, which is better than the Mark 5 and 5A are going to be. This is really great, by the way, when you're shooting outside. And then also have the hot shoes so that I can have even better quality control of the light sources that I'm recording at. It just gives me a lot more flexibility, including mounting a microphone, such as my Rode VideoMic Pro or the NTG that I have up here on this camera right now. Okay, and then one final thing that really hit the nail was the ND filter. Okay, they got rid of the ND filter in the Mark 6 and the Mark 7. Really horrible thing to do. You kind of really need that when you're shooting outdoors. So then I could even get rid of the of what I primarily got, the ND filter system that I also did a video on, the Nisi set. So then I can really travel a lot lighter, have most of the things that I want all in one smaller package. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now the big question right now is whether or not okay, one more feature. There's One Touch bokeh feature. I wonder if that's going to have some sort of digital processing. Probably. Sony's pretty set on that. So yeah, it remains to be seen, and I guess we'll find out in a few days once some of this information gets cleared out, and some of the people who have reviewing units are going to start posting, I guess, in 5 days and 17 hours. And I'm not one of them because I don't do a whole lot of Sony videos. So yeah, but you know what, if we get a chance to hands on one of these, I'll definitely be posting an update about that. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. This is something that could be one of those game changers that Sony really needs to get people excited about these RX 100 cameras already. I mean, I know a lot of people are already excited about it, but even more excited. Now here comes the thing with the pricing. What do you think it's going to be priced at? My guess is it's going to be right around the same price point of the RX 100 Mark 7 when it got released, which is around $1,200, which is very expensive. But keeping in mind that I can replace all that other gear with one camera, hopefully, and produce everything that I need to do. I can consolidate all my gear and really make use of it and not have to worry about the gear getting in the way. I think that's what it is. Reducing the friction for you to be able to go out and get pretty good quality vlogs without having to resort to something like a GoPro, which is unfortunately what I've been using a lot of, because look, this is all in and ready to go, captures everything, has a nice big record button on here, and with the cage I can even stick in an external microphone, right? This is really getting that way, and that's what's pretty exciting about that. Okay, so if you want to see a little bit more details within the next, I guess, 5 or 6 days, I suppose you can go ahead and continue to check on, again, it's not sponsored by Sony Alpha Rumors. It's just that this was linked from the peer review comments. Okay, so be sure to check this out. It's coming out May 26th. If I can find a pre-order page, I will link it down below, and hopefully you can be one of the first to get it if you're excited about it as I am. I'm definitely excited. Yeah. Okay, please give this a like, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next video. Please, everybody, stay safe, and yeah, keep creating. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.